This is the Work Smart Hypnosis podcast, session number 283. What I'm up to right now.
Welcome to the Work Smart Hypnosis podcast with Jason Linett, your professional resource for hypnosis training and outstanding business success. Here's your host, Jason Linett.
Oh, hey there. I didn't see you there. Good to have you here. Had to at least start one podcast episode in that format. Hey, it's Jason Linett here. And you're going to probably notice, for those of you that have been listening to this program for quite some time, we're going to take a little bit of not quite a break, but a different format for the next couple of weeks, at least maybe through most of August. That there's a number of projects that are currently in the works that are bubbling at the surface, about to launch. And on top of that, it's just easier to put out these solo episodes. But then again, there's a number of specific pieces of content I've been wanting to share for quite some time. So that's what we're going to be putting out for the next couple of weeks. So do not be fooled. This is actually going to be some really high quality information that you can take action upon immediately. I mean, next week's episode, coming out on August 6th, is going to be called The Hypno Startup. And it's going to be my version of if I had to get started right now. We're in a rather interesting little pocket of history now, aren't we? And I'm going to give you the step-by-step of exactly what I would be doing if I was launching the business in the midst of global pandemic. The week after that, August 13th, there's going to be an episode on quick tips for self-hypnosis, some real practical strategies that either you can use for yourself or even better, share with your clients, and similar episodes to this nature for the most of August. They're also easier for us to produce, so it's a win-win now, isn't it? Yeah. Now I'm going to do something a little bit differently on this week's episode because I tend to be a pretty transparent person. I talk shop about what I'm doing. Hey, I just told you the next two podcast episodes, but there's a project off to the side that I haven't been chatting about too much, and really the theme of this episode is not yet to then promote it to you and say, join me there, but it's to kind of give you some of the thinking about the question of when it is that you should scale up your efforts, when it is that you should level up what you're doing, and when it is that you need to kind of double down and go, even more metaphors, when it is that you have to double down and kind of throw a wrench into the entire system to go, yeah, this message needs a bigger audience while still maintaining everything that's there. The best way to set the stage for this is to give you like the thumbnail sketch of the backstory, which we've been putting out this podcast series now for over 6 years. And some of you may already know this, but listen anyway, because it's going to set the context for where we're going. That first saw a stage hypnosis show in 2001, and that just grabbed my attention. Became a bit ravenous for watching DVDs and old videotapes and reading books to learn all that I could around hypnosis, and then launching a part-time career doing stage hypnosis programs, primarily for schools. And out of a frustration that I knew it worked, but I didn't know why it worked, is how I ended up in a certification course with Sean Michael Andrews, becoming bona fide, or as we like to say, certified in hypnosis. And then moving to Virginia, we opened up the parent company of all things Virginia Hypnosis, which is the Jason Linett Group LLC, which is the group of Jason Linett's businesses. That opened up officially November 5th, 2009. Been at this a while, now haven't I? Now, it's been a game, though, of changing up the model every other couple of years. So a couple of years full-time as a stage hypnotist, leaving a career in production management and theater, and really originally the goal of seeing clients, let's say on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. Most of the school programs were like Thursdays and Fridays and Saturdays. So that's why Virginia Hypnosis opened up back then, of just filling in the extra hours. And then the discovery that there was more of a passion for me of doing that work, and that's where I took down the stage hypnosis world. Actually retired myself from that, which is a fun thing to say it. I'm 37 years old this year. It's the only thing to say at that age, but it's where just because you're good at something doesn't mean you have to keep doing it the rest of your life. So then devoting that time even further, it's back to like 2012, 2013, that the adjunct of seeing clients became running programs. And this is a cool little sidebar. It's helpful to know what your unique selling proposition is, what your secret sauce is, what it is that you offer. And what I've kind of identified and what's been identified by my students over the years is not just this work smart brand, but inside of that, this ability to take concepts that many people find to be extremely complicated and break them down to the smallest moving pieces so I can teach you not just how to do something, but also why it works, which, by the way, that's going to be a big focus of next week's episode, specifically on startup strategies for hypnotists in terms of getting the business up and running. So being able to break down why something is effective and how to replicate it, how to model success and do it even more efficiently, which is a major theme inside of hypnosis and NLP. That was where the training business took off. And at the time, we had 2 small kids, at least one on the way and one was already born. So at the time, I was doing guest training events. I was bringing in people like Sean Michael Andrews, who at the time was living over in Germany, now is in Florida, which close. Bringing in Inez Simpson twice from Vancouver, Roy Hunter from Washington State, Sheila Granger from the UK. And part of that was this appropriately and honorably selfish intention to bring the community to me. And I loved these conversations at different conventions. So that's where the podcast came about, of pivoting the work I was doing inside of a meetup group to a global audience with a podcast, which now millions of downloads all around the world. 6 years of it running. This is episode 283, and probably more than that, because there have been a few times where we've put out the occasional bonus episode or the honorary episode when sadly someone passed away. So nearly 300 episodes or so now, where to catch things up, the schedule of seeing clients is booked full when I open up those hours. I used to see, before kids, I used to see upwards of like 30 to 35 people a week. I'd open up days to see 6 or 7 clients in a day, 5 days a week. And before the kids were around, "Hey, I'm young, I can burn out now," was a common playful catchphrase. And I didn't burn out because I took a step back. I went, you know what? Seeing hypnosis clients is not the only hypnosis thing that I need to do. If I can train other people to do this work, we can increase the reach of this incredible profession that's changed my life and the lives of my clients as well. So, balancing out how to moderate the live training events, the discoveries of how to increase the reach online, where hypnoticworkers.com, that's my entire hypnosis training in digital access format. Hypnotic Business Systems, the systems of running a massively successful global business. I teach that all step by step. I pull back the curtain and reveal everything inside of those programs. So it's where, let's call it out, this mindset of scalability is where even as you are listening to this session right now, I might be in session with a client. Or even as that's happening, someone else is listening to this episode, someone's listening to the other 280 or so episodes. Someone's watching videos in those private forums, and up until the world kind of took a bit of a pause in the midst of all things COVID-19, coronavirus, is where the classes that I do were selling out. And in the back of this, though, you look at what you do, and I joking pat on the back, this is what I wrote as a big part of my book, Work Smart Business. The amateur changes their act, the professional changes their audience. And the disclaimer to what I'm about to get to is I'm not going anywhere. We're about to add something in, though. So the biggest thing that I see as I do private consulting with people, which you can find details of that, we've hidden that under the training tab over at virginiahypnosis.com. For those that are curious, you can go check out the options for private consulting. Though, for the most part, we run the Business Systems community, which has a private Facebook group, which is massively active these days, which is awesome, and seeing people grow their businesses and create their own financial freedom and help a ton of clients all along the way. The theme has always been the amateur changes their act, the professional changes their audience. So the goal to eliminate the stage hypnosis is what allowed me to then let Virginia Hypnosis and the trainings flourish. And once again, I'm not going anywhere, but there's a message inside of the business content that I do that along the way, I've seen people leave behind careers that they did not like and completely change their lives as a result of the training that I offer. And I don't take that lightly. That is an amazing honor to be trusted with someone's, first of all, purchase, and then their trust to actually follow through with learning the information. And then even greater to, get out there and share it with the world. And just as a little bit of a nod to those projects, I recently asked the people in those communities, hey, we don't have any reviews on the Jason Linett Group LLC business page. Last week on the podcast, you heard Barbara C. Phillips talk about her Google My Business page. Well, Virginia Hypnosis looks good online. Work Smart Hypnosis looks good online. Yeah, Jason Lynette Group LLC was just kind of a parent company. And with a simple ask, just like 2 messages, we got like nearly 3 dozen 5-star reviews on there. So thank you to all of you who did that, which is part of a preparatory phase. But let me lay some more foundation here. In my opinion, one of the greatest risks to ongoing success is comfort. That when things are working, to get into that place of steady sailing, this is what's working, let's just keep it up. Because then suddenly something happens, and what if that changes? And if you want a good example of that, have you turned on a television lately? Apparently, something's going on right now. Briefly, I flash back, I think it was 2013 or 14, and that's when some of the hypnotists in Nevada were issued cease and desist letters for using the word, if I remember the entire story correctly, they were issued cease and desist letters for the use of the word hypnotherapy, which, yes, there's a whole legality around the use of that word and the details of that. But a friend of mine who's a hypnotist out, not in Las Vegas, but elsewhere in Nevada, reached out to me to go, I thought about you because, Jason, if you suddenly could not see clients, you'd probably double your business, they said. And I hadn't thought about that yet because at that time, Work Smart Hypnosis was relatively new as a podcast, as a media company. Hypnotic Business Systems at the time had a different name. It was called Hypnosis Business Bootcamp. And if the time frame's right, I don't think Hypnotic Workers was around yet. It was just a private video library for the people going through my trainings, which were affiliated with another organization previously, but now proudly, in conjunction with all things ICBCH and Richard Nongard's crew. So this place of comfort, of that place where this other hypnotist goes, if, it shut down his business. There was something that happened and could not see clients. The same way that we went on damage control back, a number of months ago, episodes numbers 260 through 269. I saw the panic in this community, and we put out 10 episodes specifically just on working with clients online. And it's just the world that we're in right now. There's not much normal about this new normal has been a catchphrase that I saw from Sign of a restaurant that we did a takeout order from. So this place where there were some who just threw in the towel. And in my opinion, some of the greatest moments in innovation in this world have come about from challenging moments. And a project that had been floating around in the back of my mind finally went, okay, now's the time to do it. And I'll give you some of the backstory behind this. And I'm going to be a little vague because I want you to see it in full form when it officially comes out. But I'm giving you the thought process as to what became, okay, comfort is the death of a business sometimes. That it's time to sometimes throw the wrench into the system and see what happens. So here's what I've been up to up until now. So first of all, with Virginia, and all this, by the way, is stuff we're chronicling inside of Hypnotic Business Systems. So first of all, on the client side, I have purposefully pulled back the number of hours that I offer to my clients. I have also purposefully dwindled down a little bit more niche specific the things that I do, which there's a side note to this, which is that now I'm even more excited to work with clients in these specific categories, which I'll tell you are stop smoking and business confidence. Yes, I'll see the occasional client for something else, but as I'm in this, as I've now nicknamed it, incubation mode, these are the 2 things I am the most focused on right now. And anything else, I'm either maybe considering seeing or referring out to someone else. And told stories in recent episodes of some of those examples of sending people, hey, we're all local right now as so much of the work is happening online. And here's someone, I've sent several out, and we're not going to do all the specific call outs on this episode. So sharing with the profession. This is something I'm not currently doing. And I'll tell you, it's been a while, but there was a breakthrough just this past Saturday as I'm recording this episode before the launch, where I, for the first time ever, put in an email to a client, I am not currently accepting clients for that specific category. Here are 2 names of people to reach out to. I think they can also help you. And oh man, the smile was massive. So again, it's not a stepping away. It's a further refining. It's getting even more specific that in any career path, you have every bit of permission to choose what are those things that you are the most passionate about. Richard Nongard would say, what are those things that, you can take on that you're going to have 100% success with those clients? Let's level that up even further to go, what are those things that you are excited to wake up in the morning and drive to the office or at least change your shirt for the Zoom session? That's the year that we're in right now. So that moment, I'm not currently accepting clients for that issue. We made a little bit of a reorganization on the Virginia Hypnosis website to reflect that there's just certain categories that I'm not currently seeing. It's not that I don't feel confident in them. It's not that I don't get results with them. Hell, I've got a couple of hundred testimonials for one of those categories in a binder in the lobby. It's instead going laser focused on a new project. And along the way, too, the way that people have bought into my programs or attended my events or even hired me privately for consulting, which we have a opening or two for that, by the way, which again, Virginia Hypnosis under the training tab, you can find all the details there as to how we do that. But this moment where I recognized I had to hire somebody to refine a message. And this is the side note to the phrase that's really driven so much of business in the last couple of years. In the 21st century, you are a media company first that happens to provide products and services. So when I put out the book, we did a couple of dozen different business podcast interviews. And then from there, doing all the promo to get the book out there, I got to meet a lot of big shot people in the business world, specifically information marketing. And here's another little side note. What if you could run the nature of your business in such a way that people want to do business with you? They want to pay a premium for the services that you provide, and they don't even yet know what your services are and how much you're going to charge. This is the value of putting out video. This is the value of being that media company first. And I'll elaborate on this next week, specifically in terms of building out a hypnosis practice. But this mindset that how do we go about positioning ourselves as that clear, ultimate expert on something that when someone goes, you know what, I have this specific need, you are the obvious person that they can go to. And there's a person who I was on his podcast back when I was putting out the book, and just the conversation stuck in my mind for some of the references that this guy has in terms of his record, and paid a bit of a top dollar amount to just pay for an hour. And the original thing was, yes, in my head, I knew this is kind of the first date. We might be joining together to work on a much bigger project. There's 3 levels of a product, by the way. There's teach you how to do it, there's do it with you, and then there's done for you. So eventually hired this guy out for some done for you services of design and, positioning and media assets. And you'll see that all in application later. But having some pretty big, massive credentials and a resume. And I'll tell you the fun moment of this, which was that this is a project that the book was supposed to lead into. But then in the lead up of everything, I started to build better systems for automation as a bit of an incubation mode to get ready. So once again, if you look at the Virginia Hypnosis website, there are some automated systems that are now booking the clients for me. And check this out. I'm only having that phone consult in some of my major categories once that person has already paid for my service. Let's change the dynamic. This is the other phrase I want you to hear. Position yourself at the end of your own funnel. So I'm not now selling the service by phone in some of my major categories that I see. Instead, I'm enhancing the rapport once it's already a paid client. This is not a pipe dream. This is what I've done now. Similar to that, the mechanisms of Work Smart Hypnosis, producing episodes for the podcast a little ways in advance to automate some of that, building some better automated systems to, attract in the students and bring in the listeners of that. The nature of 2020, so many things are either modified heavily or just not happening. A couple of major conventions have just postponed to 2021 at the time of this recording. HypnoThoughts is going hybrid online. I've got high-risk people I'm going to be around for the most of the year, so I'm not going to be there, but I'll be submitting some videos for the people engaging with that, which they're putting out an amazing offer, by the way. Check them out at htlive.net. So taking some time to incubate and prepare the business systems. And I'll tell you the story that I really wanted to share is that sometimes reaching out and getting a professional perspective to look at something differently. I made an appointment with this guy, which spent several $100 for a consulting session, and everything became clear in the course of 10 minutes. I pitched the entire idea. Here's the new additional thing we're going to add on top of Virginia Hypnosis and Work Smart Hypnosis. And basically, to paraphrase it, he goes, "Are you ready for this? The name of your podcast that you're going to launch as a new one," yes, there's a new one coming soon, "the name of your podcast is now instead the name of your product. And the name of the product you've got stuck in your mind is the name of your podcast. If you do that, people know what you do even faster, and here's the system to make it happen. And I went, damn, that's it. And I was a yes before the offer was made to go, here's how I can help you do that faster. And very high premium rate and already delivering wonderfully. So back to the point, the greatest danger of any business is comfort. That if you keep doing what's currently working right now, you're just going to stay where you are. And I think we've gotten a bit of a wake-up call this year that at any one point in time, things can change dramatically. Now, thankfully, I will call it out because this is my mindset. This is chapter 1 of Work Smart Business, power of premise. In my head, everything is an asset. So to look at it from the mindset that this is not necessarily a reason to back off and do nothing because the world is weird right now. It's instead an opportunity to double down because there are people who are in need, and let's share that message to an even broader audience. And all of a sudden, in the words of Napoleon Hill, it no longer was just a goal. It was a burning desire that I had to transmute. There's a word you don't hear enough. Have you transmuted today? I think you need to. So wanted to pop on and be a little bit more, personal in the style here this week about the approach of looking at where you are right now, that the dialogue with a number of clients that I've been seeing locally and online, of course, that here's the person who goes, yeah, this is the sort of a wake-up call that I've not been happy in my career, and here's an opportunity that, yes, I'm getting to work from home right now, but I can start to build that side hustle that I'm more excited about. We've been selling out every hypnosis training that we've offered this year. They've pivoted online. You can find in the show notes the event that's coming up in September and October that I'm co-training with Richard Nongard in a hybrid online format. These training events have been selling out weeks, if not months before the event. Why? Because people are in that stage of wanting to build their own thing. The world has shifted. The world has become a lot smaller, and some of our priorities have become a little bit bigger. So again, to kind of tie this all together in a bit of a brief, more thematic episode this week, everything can change in a moment's notice. And you always have that opportunity to take the messaging, take the skills that you have, and bring it to a much bigger audience. And as I've cautioned here, and as I've politely cushioned some of you, no, I'm not going anywhere. But there's some segments that we may begin to take down, as in the dependency upon a local brick and mortar office for seeing one-to-one clients. Because the world and everything in our situations right now has proven that may be a different model to focus on. Where, doing the online trainings for certification, it used to be in a training that we'd almost as an anecdote talk about Skype sessions and Zoom sessions. Now it's got to be the feature. Because if you look at the news online, things aren't getting any better right away. Yes, they're finding some good research and finding some better treatment plans, but both testing and diagnosis and deaths are currently on the rise. And let's not politicize this. Those are just things you can find easily online. And I'll say it politely. Again, we railed a bit on the conspiracy theories back a few episodes ago, but I'd say genuinely talk to someone who's had it. It's going to change your perspective. It's going to change the way you talk about this and take things a little bit more seriously. Be safe out there, everybody. So consider, where has there been comfort within your life? And what if that actually is a bit of a false sense of comfort that you can now do something about? You can now create something new. And here's the final point to tie it all together. For everything that you find to be extremely easy, and I told you something that I found to be extremely easy a little while ago. I won't repeat it. Go back and find it. For everything you find to be extremely easy, that's someone else's specific pain point. And if you can help them to resolve that pain point faster and easier, it's a noble thing to be offering that as a service. It's a valuable thing to be offering that people can exchange their time and money for what you can provide. And if you can solve that pain point for them, you will have a business for life. Stay tuned, everybody. Jason Linett here, and as always, thank you so much for interacting with this program, for sharing this on your social media streams, and hey, we hinted at it already, leaving your reviews online. Check out this sorcery. For the Apple users, go to worksmarthypnosis.com/iTunes. That's where you can leave your reviews online for this program for the Apple users. For everyone else, you can find the WorkSmart Hypnosis Podcast with Jason Linett page on Facebook, and you can actually leave reviews over there as well, or just use this as a continued resource in growing our profession and sharing it on your streams. And if you're serious about growing out your hypnosis business, it's a whole lot easier when you don't have to reinvent the wheel and use the systems that have been proven to work. That's what I give you inside of hypnoticbusinesssystems.com. It's a lifetime access program, and you can get started on a really convenient payment plan, or for a bit of a preview, check out hypnoformula.com. That's where we've got the Hypnotic Pricing Formula Workshop. It's a absolutely free on-demand event that's going to show you how to better scale your services, price at a premium, and deliver the skills of professional hypnosis. So get the whole system, hypnoticbusinesssystems.com. Or, hey, first taste is free over at hypnoformula.com. I'm Jason. I can't wait to see you in person and appropriately and safely touch your faces in the future. Stay safe, everybody. Wash your hands. Make it rain. I'll see you soon.
Thanks for listening to the Work Smart Hypnosis podcast at WorkSmartHypnosis.com.
Hey there, it's Jason, and I want you to be one of the first to find out as we upload amazing new content. So do this right now. Click the subscribe button right here on this video. That's going to link you to our YouTube channel here, and you will be the first to find out as new resources and downloads are made available. Do it now.